Alrighty, guys, we're back for Orzhov Sacrifice, and this is a Murders at Karlov Manor standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. First things first, this was a suggestion down in the comments. Thank you so much for the suggestion. It's going to be a fun one. It was essentially just to try out Orzhov Sacrifice. So here we are, rocking one Treacherous Greed. This is a 3-mana instant speed. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature that dealt damage this turn. Okay, well, hopefully that won't be too hard, but what the heck do we get for all that? Draw 3 cards. Each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. Oh my. I feel like that's a lot, actually, right? I think this is going to be a terrific one of, and I actually considered 2 of them, but I don't have the second one, unfortunately. I'm not saving my rare wild cards for anything in particular, but I mean, I guess it's good to save up for the next set every now and then. As of right now, 1 should totally be fine. Now we do have other new cards packed in as well, like Case of the Stashed Skeleton here. This is a 2-mana enchantment case, and when this case enters the battlefield, create a 2/1 black skeleton creature token and suspect it. So it has menace and it can't block when it's suspected. So to solve this, you control no suspected skeletons, and then if it's unsolved, you solve it at the beginning of your end step. Okay. Now when it's solved, for 1 in the black, you can sacrifice this case, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle, activate only as a sorcery. Yeah, dude, no, this seems pretty solid overall, huh? Now there's going to be plenty of moments where you're just swinging in with that skeleton and the opponent's like, well, I guess I'll just take 2 damage for now, right? And you might actually get like 6 damage through with that 1 skeleton before the opponent finally decides to block it or actually get something that can successfully deal with it. Well, at that point, again, as soon as they successfully deal with this, you can just solve this, grab whatever you want out of the deck. That seems really good, man. Of course, it goes into your hand, but still, I'll tell you what. We have a bunch of ways to go ahead and just sacrifice that skeleton too. Cards like Fanatical Offering is going to be terrific in here. 2-mana instant speed as an additional cost to cast this spell. Sacrifice an artifact or creature. Draw 2 cards, then create a map token as well, and then you can just rinse and repeat with that map token too. That kind of plays into itself. That's pretty nice. That's why I'm opting for the 4 of 2. Just a great way to keep our hand nice and stocked, and we have a ton of things in here that just don't mind being sacrificed. Like, of course, yeah, that skeleton, for example, but then we have a whole bunch of 1-drops packed in, and another new card with Novice Inspector. So this is a 1-mana, 1/2 human detective. When it ETBs, you investigate, so you get a little clue onto the board too, so you can always sacrifice that artifact to cards like Fanatical Offering. So just 2 for the price of 1 just sounds really good, and a deck that likes to sacrifice things all the time, right? And there's more stuff in here that sacrifice artifacts outside of the offering, like Dusk Rose Reliquary here too. So 1-mana artifact, as an additional cost to cast a spell, you sacrifice an artifact or creature. It has Ward too, which really could come in handy, and when it ETBs, you exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls until Dusk Rose Reliquary leaves the battlefield. Every now and then you'll pick up like a token or something, right? A token creature from the opponent, and then Dusk Rose Reliquary will just sit on your board, waiting to be sacrificed again, maybe to itself or maybe to an offering. That's pretty cool. We have a bunch of other stuff in here that doesn't mind being sacrificed, like Greedy Freebooter, of course. It's a 1-mana 1/1. When it dies, you scry 1, and then you create a treasure token too. Nice. We also have a single Crawling Chorus. I would have more Crawling Chorus, but I had a really hard time actually just packing everything in here that I wanted to have in here. Because essentially, you know, you sacrifice Chorus and then it replaces itself with a Might that can't block, of course. But then you could just sacrifice the Might too. So all that, like I said, 2 for the price of 1 just goes a long way in a build like this. I still think the 1 of is going to be worth it over saying like, over dropping this for a 4th Reliquary. You know what I mean? But hey, maybe we'll talk more about that in the final thoughts. So other ways to sacrifice our things, we have Bartolomé del Presidio. Something like that. I actually think I nailed that maybe. This is a 2-mana, 2/1 legendary creature. Sacrifice another creature or artifact, and then you put a +1/+1 counter on Bartolomé. Cool. That seems pretty good, man. Only a 3 of course, because it is legendary, and even if it wasn't legendary, I still think this would only be a 3 of in this particular build, so. Now, cards like Vraan is, of course, going to work well in here. Vraan Executioner Thane, 2-mana, 2/2 legendary creature. We have 1 of them in here. Whenever 1 or more other creatures you control die, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Now, the ability only triggers once each turn, but that does include the opponent's turn. So you can totally do something on your turn, like the Bart, right? I think everyone calls this guy Bart anyway, so that's what I'm going to try to do too. And then you could do something at instant speed on your opponent's turn, like Fanatical Offering, for example. Now, of course, Offering on Artifact won't activate the Vraan because the Vraan specifically says creatures, but you guys know what I mean. Okay, we have other great removal like Rite of Oblivion, still in standard for some reason. This is a 2-mana sorcery with flashback for 2, a white and a black. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you sacrifice a non-land permanent, and then you just exile target non-land permanent. Yeah, no, that's good. That is a, yep, everything about Rite of Oblivion is good. I like it. Onwards to our 3-mana spot, we have a couple Sanguine Evangelist. 3 mana, 2/1 with Battlecry. And then as it ETBs or dies, you create a 1/1 black bat creature token. Again, same concept, dude. 2 for the price of 1, but then if you sacrifice Evangelist, you're also getting another bat too. It's really going to go a long way in a build like this, man. And even more vampires packed in with Preacher the Schism as a 2/2. So 3 mana, 2/4 with Death Touch, and when it attacks the player with the most life or tied for the most life, you create a 1/1 vampire, which of course the lifelink goes a long way on that vampire, but it could also just be sacrificed to one of the many other things going on in the deck. And then whenever Preacher the Schism attacks while you have the most life or tied for the most life, you draw a card and lose 1 life. So another way to restock our hand, which, got to be real with you guys, our hand is going to be nice and stocked up usually, so I'm not sure how often that's going to come into play anyways. While we're keeping our hands so nice and stocked, of course, unfortunately, Sheoldred had to make the cut, man. Does it really play a part in a sacrifice build? No, outside of the fact that when we are sacrificing, we're drawing a ton anyway, so potentially just a whole bunch of life gain off of cards like Fanatical Offering or 2 on the same turn, or Treacherous Greed too, right? Or the Preacher the Schism. Sheoldred's going to be excellent. Even when you're not drawing, of course, Sheoldred makes the cut. You know what I mean? And like, it's totally fine to have Sheoldred in here because when you're using cards like Case of the Stashed Skeleton, when you're solving that and you want to grab something big, like a big creature, then of course Sheoldred is going to be terrific to grab. But then it's the same concept with Beseech the Mirror too. The bargain works with the sacrifice theme, and then everything in the build, if you bargain this, can just be slammed right onto the table. So one of Beseech the Mirror, hopefully the triple black in the casting cost, doesn't hold us up too much, especially since we have a little bit of mana fixing off of cards like Greedy Freebooter too, so hopefully we'll be fine. Okay, one more card, guys. Edgar Charmed Groom. We do have enough vampires in here to actually have this play its part, right? So 4 mana. Excuse me, guys. 4/4, legendary creature. Other vampires you control get +1/+1. So how many vampires do we have total, actually? Let me double check. We have 10 vampires total. Not half bad. Yeah, the Bart, the Preacher, the Sanguine Evangelist, and then the Edgar. So every now and then you're going to buff a little board state and be pretty happy about it. But when Edgar dies, you return it to the battlefield as Edgar Markov's Coffin. So at the beginning of your upkeep, you create a 1/1 white and black vampire creature token with a lifelink and put a bloodline counter on Edgar Markov's Coffin. Then if there are 3 or more bloodline counters on it, you remove those counters and then you transform it back into Edgar Charmed Groom. Dude, Edgar's like a really good card that we just like never get to see. I think it really showcases the power level of standard that Edgar just isn't floating about somewhere. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think it's going to be excellent in here. Okay, the mana base, guys. We got a nice like little 70-50 split in here. Like 72% has black and 50% has white. And so that's what we got with our plains and our seat and our swamp and our abandoned mire. And we got some good dual land in here between the caves, our Shattered Sanctum. I am rocking a Shadowy Backstreet to try out that Surveil 1 in here too. Every now and then you might surveil like a Rite of the Oblivion. Maybe you just don't need that removal right now and then flash it back later. And maybe, yeah, maybe you're just looking for a little bit more aggression, for example. I don't know. I like the Surveil lands actually, though. I do. And then a couple Restless Fortress because the Restless lands do go a long way. And then Mirrex in here too to potentially just generate some mites that we could sacrifice as well. And potentially a little bit of mana fixing for at least 1 turn. Okay, some honorable mentions, guys. These are just cards that I thought about. Simple removal, like Go for the Throat. Yep, it'll always go a long way. So Thought about cards like Jadar, Tenacious Underdog. Yep. Feast of the Victorious Dead. If there was ever a deck that this would be good in, it would probably be this deck. So maybe I should have squeezed at least one in just to try it out. Also thought about the new Kaya as well, but not this time around, huh? If you guys have any deck ideas for the new Kaya, let me know in the comments. Okay, guys, hopefully that's everything. Let's go ahead, take it into some ranked and see how we do. Okay, we'll see if we can get right into that first game here. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? I am expecting a little bit, but I'm also a little nervous. I tend not to be great at sacrifice builds. There is like so much going on all the time in sacrifice decks, like so many little things to consider. Okay, I think this is a fine first hand, right? We go first too. Nice. Got that surveil. Yeah, so I guess what am I expecting? I'm expecting it to be hard to pilot, so I'm a little bit nervous. All right, let's start with that. Surveil. Rite of Oblivion. I'm actually going to send it. We have the second one in hand in the flashback. That's funny, dude. We just went over that's going to happen every now and then. So, like, I just want to see more off the top, even though Rite of the Oblivion would have been totally fine. Merfolk, huh? Oh. Ooh. Nice. So, Case of the Stash Skeleton or good old Bart. Let's go Case. I feel like that's not bad. Now, two cases makes it a little harder to solve, but I just think in this deck it's going to be so easy to solve anyways. Are they going to go for the 3 damage? They are going to go for the 3 damage. Okay. Yeah, I think that was probably a wise decision for the opponent. Dusk Rose Reliquary. The 2 could get through. We could go Sanguine Evangelist for the turn. I think we're going to go Dusk. Let's swing for 2. I'm going to pick up the Hex Catcher, which they do not have the... Wait. Sacrifice a Merfolk. Oh, they don't have to pay anything for that. You guys don't... I mean, they would rather it sit underneath the Dusk Rose anyways, right? I think so. So I'll sacrifice this. We'll solve the first case. We're going to target Hex Catcher and then see if they end up sacrificing it. I feel like they'd much rather... Oh, okay, they let it hit. What am I saying? I'm talking about it for nothing. All right, let's go ahead and get Bart down then. Taking 1 because of the caves, unfortunately. And then we solve the case. Cool. Right. Yeah, getting rid of the Hex Catcher is pretty good for us. I suppose we have to expect more, though, when it comes time. Sentinel. Nice. Yeah, they can get through here quite successfully because we don't want to sacrifice the Dusk Rose Reliquary. If we played the second case... Oh, they offer a trade, actually. I'm going to say no. We're going to take the 2 down to 14. If we played the second case... Well, yeah, no. We're fine. We're fine. And do the Rite of the Oblivion from the grave now that we have our 4th mana. Not a lot. Like, I don't want to sacrifice the case just to do a Rite of the Oblivion. Although that wouldn't be terrible. I think it would actually just be first case, right? I do want to get rid of the Sentinel, though. And then I'll go Rite of the Oblivion, right? Target the Sentinel. Get rid of the Skeleton. Although if we get rid of the case, we could always have the Skeleton to sacrifice to Bart. Now it's Skeleton. Submit, and then Exile. That's a good hit for us. And then I don't plan on blocking. I plan on outpacing by some miracle. So we'll see. We'll see. We solved both cases already. So we can start grabbing whatever we want from the build when it comes time. A Deep Root Pilgrimage. That's going to be a problem, huh? Oh, buddy, is that going to be a problem? Okay. Well, they're going to go for the swing to get the 1/1 first of all anyways. So what do we want here? If we go case and sacrifice the case, we'll only have 2 mana open. But like all of this is a problem. Okay, 3 mana open. So I suppose Case of the Stash Skeletons, because Sanguine Evangelist can come down regardless. But like for now, I think we just want to figure out something for their current board state, which might include getting rid of the Pilgrimage with Rite of the Oblivion next turn. So maybe we just want something that stocks up the board state for more. Maybe I should have done Rite of Oblivion this turn and sacrifice Case of the Skeletons that way. Either way, what we're grabbing here is going to hand. So maybe, hold up. What if we grab, first of all, Treacherous Greed, that could be something else. What if we just grab Sanguine Evangelist number 2? And then we have 2 turns of playing that, right? That seems pretty good, actually. Because we still have this other Case of the Stash Skeleton. What's going to end up happening here? So if they want to trade, we sacrifice that. But then we'll have less there. So we want to have Battlecry next turn. Much damage are we allowed taking here? So no attacks, because Schooner's a problem. Everything the opponent has established over there is a problem. So maybe it was Rite of the Oblivion. That's a tough decision, though. Another Schooner. Evidence Examiner. The 2 mana 2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may collect evidence 4. Whenever you collect evidence, investigate. Okay, they go map token onto the scout. And a corrupt Schooner. We're in danger. Outpacing is probably no longer an option. If it ever was an option to begin with. Get another 1/1. Let's see where they swing, because if they swing with a 1/1, a trade could happen. Okay. We're kind of in trouble, man. They get another 1/1. Okay, they get a land to hand. Okay, so if we take out Schooner number 1... Dude, what do I do here? Okay, so we go to block step, right? And we go you. So if we go all in the danger zone here, and then sacrifice to Bart, we take no damage this turn. And then we trade out the 1/1 and trade out the scout, and we get a 1/1 bat remaining. Oh, what we could have done is taken out the Schooner then. We could have put Bart on the Schooner and sacrificed the bat, and then they would have 1 less 1/1. Or they would have 1 more 1/1, 1 less Schooner. Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I scared myself a little bit too much by saying it was going to be a hard build to run, but first things first, we got to have a blocker for the Schooner, and unfortunately that probably means Sheoldred, right? Because we're going to need some life gain too. So the land wasn't terrible on top. If we grab, let's see, they're going wide. If we grab our Edgar and play our Edgar, it blocks the Schooner well. It sacrifices to the Rite of the Oblivion outside of the blocks to take care of some things over there. Like especially the Pilgrimage, right? We could get rid of Pilgrimage now, but then we'll end up taking a lot of damage. Rite of the Oblivion is sorcery speed. 2. That might actually still be the play, huh? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's still Sheoldred. That's a tough decision, dude. Holy cow. Again, maybe I'm just doing this to myself right now and making it making it in my head seem like it's a lot harder decisions than it actually is, but because earlier maybe we should have just Rite of Oblivion to that Deeproot Pilgrimage right away. Oh, they found another merfolk off the top too, so now they double down on the schooner, get 2 more 1/1s on the board, and they don't even have to swing here. They just keep going wide like this. They don't have enough to collect evidence. They do go for the swing though, I guess, to get the... Okay, they explore, and they have a Hex Catcher on top. Very nice, opponent. So we block a schooner for sure, and we take 4 here. We trade that bat in, I'd say. Wait a minute. I trade the bat. We don't have 7 mana to get Evangelist and the Rite down. We have to take out the Pilgrimage period next turn, right? We could see mana. No, we're taking 5. We got to do something here. The double schooner, the fact that they saw the another merfolk off the top there was really rough for us. We do find mana, but it is a tapped mana. So we only get 1 thing this turn, guys. And it has to be the Pilgrimage, but are they wide enough to just swing? Sheoldred just barely keeping us afloat then. Stop them going wide is the first thing. And we have to wait, I can swing with the bat first. Hold up, guys. Let's not miss a damage here. They don't have reach or anything, so we start with the swing. Now, if we were, I think we'd survive quite nicely. If this was a untapped land, Evangelist into the right, we'd have extra chump blockers on the ground. Yeah, every bit of damage matters, dude. So get that bat through. Rite of Oblivion. See, we could hit the second schooner, but then they still just swing with their normal. They have a buff for their normal guys too. We know what they're drawing next turn. You know what? I've changed my line of play. I'm going schooner, man. Because Sheoldred blocks so well, they're still going to get, since off the swing, it's 1 or more, so they're only going to get 1 more merfolk, right? And we know what's on top. We know that they're buffing their merfolks. Wait, since they're buffing the 1/1s too, it's still going to be lethal damage then, isn't it? Because we block there. They got... No, it's only 8 getting through. No, what am I saying? What am I saying, man? No. Both of these are swinging as 4/4s. So it is, in fact, lethal damage regardless because of the buff on the Hex Catcher. Oh, wow. And then they had the Examiner there, too. Good game, opponent. That was excellent, man. What? What? What just happened? Guys? Opponent, are you there? My game just crashed, man. What on earth? Okay, I'm gonna pause and restart the game as fast as possible. Okay, I restarted my game and it did not put me back into the match. So, I guess we'll get right into the next game. I'm sorry, opponent. Hopefully the opponent isn't just like chilling over there, like waiting for us to play or something. You know what I mean? I have no idea what that was. That was the first time I've seen a crash like that happen. I mean, we've definitely crashed before, but oh, this is a much better hand than the last one, right? What even... Was the first hand bad, though? I don't think it was. Overall, against Merfolk, I needed to do those Rite of Oblivions like way earlier, man. So, we start with the Surveil land. I will actually keep that on top. I like that. We go Shattered Sanctum into a 1-drop next turn then. And that sounds pretty good to me. Yeah, the Merfolk deck, that's one that we don't see too often. And I should have been opting for that removal like immediately on all their fancy pieces that weren't creatures. Okay, and we'll go into Freebooter here. Because if it is some burn, some ramp could go a long way, just getting like 2 things down on the same turn. Which still might be what we end up doing. Okay, with the Blood token. Oh, Warden of the Inner Sky. Oh. Oh, this is, I bet this is, they're gonna go for the tap right away. Yeah, extra counter. Okay. I bet this is the type of build that runs the goblins when it comes time, huh? Evangelist is pretty good. Let's go with a setup with Vraan and Crawling Chorus. Okay, I like that. There was a lot of options in our hand, though. We could have went Preacher, which is a really good blocker. Evangelist to set up for the Battle Cry swing. Hey, speaking of which, yeah, dude, this is Boros Go Wide, so I bet it's gonna have, well, maybe not, maybe. I get that vibe that they have the 1 mana card destroy artifact, and then if you control the artifact, you get the 3 goblins, right? I play with that card often. I don't know why I can't think of the name here. We do have a successful chump, which I'm going to do. Because we gain some life and they lose some life. Totally fine, dude. Lord Skitter. All right, another way to keep the ball rolling nice and wide. That's a lot of 3 mana cards, though. Probably keep it in the air. We do have a swing here. Start with a swing. See what happens. Swing, swing. I think they just take the 2. I can't imagine they'd want to block there. And then, man, Preacher the Schism is just like, it's so good, but I kind of want to go wide, you know what I mean? Because they're going wide, and I just feel like blocking wide could be really good when we got that Vraan set up. And they should prioritize removal on that Vraan as soon as possible. Dude. Holy cow, the opponent is so incredibly wide right now. That's terrifying. Yeah, Warden's in the air. This could be a huge problem. I think I chump. We need to see some of our spot removal for that Warden immediately. We chump because Vraan does the thing again. They're going to have Battle Cry on Evangelist on a swing next turn too, so Sheoldred's not bad, but like, until we get that 4th mana, it's still not terrific. Lord Skitter goes wide, but like rats can't block. They have a terrific block here, but they might just take the 1 because they don't want the Vraan life gain. Depending on where they block, we just go Bart and get the sacrifice anyways, and then do the same thing on their turn. Sacrifice Freebooter for the ramp. So it's Bart for the turn, right? My apologies, opponent. We swing for 1. See if they just let the 1 get through. Which I believe it would be just a block with Warden, since we're going to sacrifice it to Bart anyways. So if they take the 1, it would be bad. So they do end up taking the 1 here, and then we're going to do this on our turn anyways. Vraan does the thing. Vraan holding it all together for us, huh? All right, now we pass it back. We go on Greedy Greedy Freebooter. That will get the treasure, so even if we don't see the land, we'll have Sheoldred next turn, potentially. They just swing with Warden instead of swinging wide. Oh, we have good blocks, but the Battle Cry, dude. What the Battle Cry, though? I think we just take the 4, let this run through. Because we could sacrifice Evangelist, get the 1/1 chump in the air, but I just feel like we don't do that right now. Down to 21. We're sitting pretty good on health. Okay, Bart. Let's get that scry in, huh? Let's do this. Thing's doing the thing. Case of the Stashed Skeletons. No, not right now. Well, we could try to find No, it's too much, and the opponent has too much on the board. I was going to say, like, it would be easy to solve the case, but we just need to actually find removal off the top instead, or keep draining the opponent's life with Vraan and Sheoldred. So, another Evangelist. Actually really bad draws this game, but like a really good setup on the board, though. So Sheoldred's going to come down, punish them for their draws, and then Bart on our turn. If we do a swing, it's the same concept. If they let it go through, that's really bad for them. Like, they want to block and then we want to sacrifice. Right? So we swing with, like, Evangelist. Which I guess we could have swung with Bart too, buffed the Bart with the Battle Cry to a 5/4. Okay, so they do go for the block, then we go for the sacrifice. So the Vraan pings for 2. We get a flying in the air. Down to 5. The opponent will draw here. See, if we lost the Bart for their turn, then we don't get the Vraan drain on their turn. They go Destroy Evil on the Sheoldred. Unfortunately, guys, I should have saved the Bart for the end, right? So that way we could have kept the Sanguine Evangelist a little bit longer. Right? Because if they had spot removal for Sheoldred, then that would have been the best case scenario. They're still wide enough. I think a full swing would have been warranted for a couple turns. How do you guys feel about that? I guess it does depend what's chilling in the opponent's hand, too. Woo! Like, maybe they're waiting for a setup with Recruiter, huh? We're in trouble, dude. We're in big trouble. Are we gonna die? Not since we have the chump in the air, luckily, but a full swing is definitely warranted. That Battle Cry would be huge for them. There they go. Okay. Where do they want to buff? The air. We have that chump blocker, luckily. Battle Cry buffs everything. Okay, so a few things here. We want to go to the blocking step. We want to block in the air. They do have this open here. I'm going to make sure I'm going to block the Imodane's Recruiter for now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 18 damage. Totally fine. We just let this do the thing. We let this run the course. And hopefully... Now we gain 2 off the Vraan after that. They lose 2. Down to 3. Losing that Sheoldred was pretty rough, huh? GG opponent. Dude, nice. Look! The deck win rate didn't even count the loss for that first glitched out game, guys. That kind of sucks. Oh well, so far the win rate is 50%. We lost against Merfolk and we won against this Go Wide. I'm not 100% certain how long they were holding on to that Recruiter, because that might have been why they were holding back, waiting for the right turn to actually swing. Or maybe they were holding back, waiting to get something else that actually buffed their board state too. Either way, we were going to have great blocks for a couple turns in a row. And so that's also potentially why they were holding back there as well. So about 33 minutes in already. Let's see if we can get one more good one in. That was good. That was totally what the deck was supposed to be doing. Vraan really showing off there. Opponent goes first, and I just feel like the hands haven't been terrific so far, and I'm wondering if it's the curve of the build. Curving pretty heavily on the 2-drops. Okay, either land is totally fine because Dusk Rose Reliquary doesn't do anything right now. Sharp-eyed Rookie. Nice. Okay, Case of the Stashed Skeleton. Finding some land here is going to be important, but with all this Fanatical Offering, I think it's going to be easy peasy to find that land. They got the Surveil land in here. Nice. Keep it on top. Even though the Surveil land is tapped, I find Surveil to be so useful at times. With the Sharp-eyed Rookie, I'm not sure if the Surveil land is in here for a different theme in their deck or not. Yeah, this has Menace anyways. They get that swing with the Vigilance. So no land off the top. We could start with the swing, try to find the land off the offering, solve the case. That's probably fine. We do this all on our turn to actually... Good thing they don't have blue over there, right? That would this would be a devastating counter spell when we're trying to find a third mana, you know what I mean? Oh, they go Who Endures on the case. Okay. I mean, that finds us a land too, so that's actually really good. We're going to go Swamp here. And that's an untapped land as well. We didn't find a land off of that. Hold on just a minute here. Well, at least we got the land off the Who Endures. That sucks, dude, because we have to discard down to 7. Treacherous Greed. I guess Fanatical Offering number 3, and then we still have the second one, right? Not seeing the mana there is rough business. We should have 24 in here, which shouldn't be too bad. There we go. We found our 4th. Hopefully it's not too late now. We got to start pulling ahead here. As far as like playing things, it's probably going to be Preacher, right? And then it's going to be Dusk Rose, pick up their Sheoldred from our map token. Yeah, hopefully we can still just generate enough value. Now that their Who Endures is gone too, hopefully it's going to be pretty hard for them to get rid of the Dusk Rose. Especially if it's like Terra Sunder. They have the ward too as well, so their Terra Sunder would be 4 mana. 4 mana get Sheoldred back isn't bad though, let's be real. This might be a back and forth battle, guys. Had we seen that mana though, I think we'd be sitting a little prettier. But now that we have it, just a little bit of time to try to pull ahead. They don't go for the swing. They have 2 open. Potential spot removal. We could start with Vraan at that point. Just like setting up for more might be okay, but like Treacherous Greed though, huh? I think it's going to be instant spot removal for the Sheoldred. I'm going to start with Vraan and then go for the swing after the fact, now that Vraan's on the board, in case they have something fancy that they want to try to pull off here. Because now that Vraan's on the board, if they kill our Preacher, like they would have wanted to do that before the swing for sure. So I'm pretty sure... Oh, they go for the block. No? Okay. I was going to say, that probably means they have something in hand. Keeping Fanatical Offering open is totally fine here. And that's what I'm going to do. We potentially chump their rookie, and then Fanatical Offering. That just seems pretty good, doesn't it? Sheoldred number 2. That's disgusting, man. Because we already took a lot of damage. You're going to go for that swing? I think so. Then we go for the chump. And we could go for the life gain, but we're going to get life gain off of the Vraan anyway. So just like drawing off of Offering, getting an extra artifact down, it's much better than just letting the lifelink go through. Also, hold up. That's something to think about. We could have sacrificed our Dusk Rose Reliquary, and they only get to keep 1 Sheoldred anyways. So, something to think about for sure. So we could have done that. Okay, down to 9, unfortunately. So getting Preacher through and then going Treacherous Greed would be much better if our Sheoldred was already established. So like Freebooter, we could pick up the other Sheoldred. I'm just waiting for that Terra Sunder. One second, opponent. There are a ton of options here. Dusk Rose Reliquary. Sacrifice creature means Vraan pops off, gets us some life gain, right? And then our Sheoldred could still come down if we do that, if we do it that way. Freebooter gets us the Scry and the treasure as well. So it might be Freebooter then, because the treasure and the Scry just seems a little bit better. Dusk Rose Reliquary. Sacrifice Freebooter. That seems pretty good, right? It's 2 mana, get this Sheoldred off the board, a little bit of ramp, a little bit of scry, a little bit of life gain. Lord Skitter is actually pretty good, but I'm going to send it. Since it's 3 mana, you know what I mean? So get this Sharp-Eyed Rookie off the board. They go for the clue. So that does mean potentially... Okay, so they wanted the life gain there, right? So we still have 4 open. We could see if they trade. But we're going to get an extra 1/1 here, and that's a good trade for us, man. I'm pretty sure they just take that too. Good trade, right? Get a 4/4 off the board and then get our own Sheoldred down for the turn. That's gotta be good, right? Dude, I think we're set up here, man. We're getting back into this regardless of missing that land for that 1 turn. No instant speed removal, so Sheoldred gets that 2 through. Yeah, I feel like removing their 4/4 Vigilance was... Oh, a board wipe? Oh no, I wasn't playing around a board wipe at all in Golgari, man. Oh crap, okay, anyone's game. This is gonna be a good one, man. This is gonna be a good one. That's exciting, man, because now, like, they still have the Restless too, so. Okay, Evangelist. Inspector. Restock this board. Treacherous Greed is going to be so good. Sacrifice the bat, you know what I'm saying? So let's go on to the Inspector here on the map token, see what we see. Bart, huh? Do we keep that? Maybe. Maybe. I'm going to send it. I'm not sure that's what we want to see right now, especially now that Vraan is not on this board too. It could be good, but against this particular deck, I just feel like it's not going to be good. You know what I mean? They go Abandoned Mire, probably opt for... Well, let's see what they hit. Oh, a Nissa. Oh, they can hit a Planeswalker too, and then they can get that down next turn, but hopefully they have some removal. We have a pretty powerful swing here with Treacherous Greed. They do get a chump blocker on the ground. Okay. Okay. So Full Swing Evangelist buffs everything. They block the Evangelist. We get some through Treacherous Greed, ditch the bat. I think we're doing okay enough to do that. Restock our hand. Full swing. See what happens. I think we're getting 5 through here, though. I think they're blocking that Evangelist. And we do get another bat. Okay. We go Treacherous Greed on the bat. Even though actually the flyers might... Maybe I should have gotten rid of the Inspector. Rite of Oblivion. Another Bart. Now that they're down to 2, it's going to be another Sanguine Evangelist. The -1 on the Nissa. Pay the ward cost. Get the Sheoldred back. Hopefully they don't draw. That's what the Rite of Oblivion is going to be for then when it comes time. Just the second Evangelist going wide here is going to be good. Our deck really showcasing the power level stacked into some of these cards, huh? If they missed a blocker, for example, that would have just been game that turn. Although they might have had the Restless Cottage open for... No, they only had the one. Path of Peril, and they still have the Nissa. However, they will not have the ward if they're not careful here. Oh, no, no, no. No, no. They don't have the Nissa. They're at 2. So they go for the full swing. That was it, man. That was it. Yeah, now that they're low enough, they don't have the cost to pay the Phyrexian mana here. So we just take the 6, we swing with Evangelist. Oh no, they get a 1/1 blocker. Okay, okay, okay. We're fine. Rite of Oblivion's in hand. My emotions, man. My emotions back and forth. So we got to get rid of their blocker. And we can still get rid of the Preacher too, but we're just going to go for that swing. Not hold the opponent up any longer. Very nice. GG, opponent. GG. That Golgari build had a lot of little surprises packed in for me, man. There we go, guys. Ranking up through platinum. Nice. Not bad, not bad. So the deck win rate is not 100%. We did lose that Merfolk match that ended up bugging out at the end, and it didn't count in the win rate up here, so I have no idea what ended up happening there. About 45 minutes in. Pretty fun time, huh? Let's talk about this build one more time. Only 3 matches, unfortunately, but I feel like they were pretty good matches that showcased what the build was trying to do quite beautifully. Some really standout cards there. Evangelist was so good. Do we actually just want more of these outside of Preacher? Probably not. I think the nice balance between Preacher, the Schism, and the Evangelist was actually really good. Preacher, the Schism just blocked so well. The Death Touch really came in handy. The extra Vampires came in handy. Evangelist just did everything it needed to do in this deck, and the extra Bats really came in handy, right? Treacherous Greed did a thing in that last game. What a cool little one-of. Do we want 2 of them? Maybe, actually, but it might be hard to get the creatures through every now and then, right? Lord Skitter didn't do as much as I would have hoped. However, every now and then that little bit of graveyard hate's going to go a long way. Maybe you're up against like Reanimator and you end up yanking their Traxa out of the graveyard or something, right? All while generating extra rats that you're able to sacrifice every turn to buff cards like the Bartolomé. But then also, while Vraan's on the board, you're just draining the opponent's life through all those sacrifices. Fanatical Offering happened to restock our hand really nice. The removal between the Rite of Oblivion and the Dusk Rose actually just didn't feel like enough, did it? But overall, the deck is definitely trying to do something outside of being a control deck. It's very much not a control deck, right? Did our dandiest to lean it into sacrifice that actually knows how to plug damage through, and I actually think that's what we landed on here quite nicely. That being said, I know a lot of Orzhov players would probably like more removal, and that's totally fine. I could see more Rite of Oblivions and Dusk Rose, or in the honorable mentions, of course. I had to Go for the Throat just because it goes a long way, and then you don't have to sacrifice anything for Go for the Throat, so going up a couple Go for the Throats isn't going to hurt this build at all. If anything, maybe it'll actually help it out quite nicely. And what would I trade out for a couple Go for the Throats? Probably a Lord Skitter, although I did like the inclusion, right? I just don't know, like, there was a lot of moments where we were like, oh, another 3-drop. Oh, okay, well, I guess we can't play that right now. Not because we didn't have enough mana, just because we were doing so much else. And if you look at the curve, you can see why. We have so many 2-drops, so many 1-drops, where we're like on turn 3, you're probably playing a 2-drop and a 1-drop because that's just a little bit better of a setup overall. Having the triple Barts actually might be a little greedy too. I could actually see dropping one of these and going up another Vraan, because Vraan was an absolute freaking MVP, bro. Every now and then, you're going to get Vraan, and then you're going to get the other Vraan, and then you're not going to have any other creatures on the board, and you're just sacrificing all your artifacts, though, and then you're like, well, Vraan's not doing anything this game, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the concept behind the one-of, but like, holy cow, was it so good in that game that it just feels a little silly not to at least talk about 2 of these. And that would probably be the drop. Drop 1 Bart, go up 1 Vraan, and I think you'd be pretty happy about that, dude. And then back to the note about more removal. Dropping Lord Skitter, going up a Go for the Throat. What else would we drop? Maybe Beseech the Mirror? Were there matches where we didn't have triple black on the board? Yeah, I think so, right? I'm gonna have to go back and watch. Now we only played 3 games, so more testing required, like in general. But like, were there games where we didn't have 3 black mana? So maybe like Beseech the Mirror. If you're looking for ways to pack more removal in, Lord Skitter, Beseech the Mirror, drop those, go up 2 Go for the Throats, and since they're both black cards anyways, that won't mess with like the whole mana base configuration either. On the note of the mana base, the Mirrex didn't end up holding us up, did it? So that's good. We also didn't end up using the Mirrex either, though, so maybe we could just go up like more basics or more untapped lands as well. Novice Inspector, yep, getting that clue down seemed really good. Freebooter's good. Crawling Chorus came in handy today too. That's another thing, right? Like, I wouldn't mind a couple more Crawling Chorus, but there's just like so much packed into this deck. Maybe the Fanatical Offerings as a 4-of is a little excessive. What do you guys think? Maybe we drop one of these. Because if you end up dropping the Beseech and the Lord Skitter, then you're going up even more 2-drops too, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, the 24 land didn't feel like 24 all the time. Sometimes it felt like 22, but that's totally fine. Eventually, we did find all the mana we needed, right? So, okay, let's do that. Let's do one more recap, guys. Number one, it could probably use more removal, and it could probably use it quite successfully at that. I think it would just be a couple go for the throat. And what I would end up dropping is either one of the Fanatical Offerings down to 3, or a Lord Skitter, or the Beseech the Mirror. Or maybe all 3. Maybe you want 3 go for the throats. Really depends what you're up against, man. Sometimes you just need a lot of removal against mono red, but also against mono red, sometimes you just need a lot of life gain too, which is why we got to talk about that second Vraan as well. And dropping 1 Bartolomé or 1 Vraan could go a long way too. Oh, Case of the Stashed Skeleton. How was this today? I feel like I didn't utilize it to its fullest potential by any means. But I could also see dropping this down to 2 as well. Now, it's also like considered a 2-for-1 card as well, because you could sacrifice the enchantment side of things to the Rite of Oblivion too, so. But we have so much else in here that does that similar concept. Maybe Case of the Stashed Skeletons could be dropped as well. Okay, so potential cards to drop, right? We could potentially drop 1 Case. We could potentially drop 1 Fanatical Offering. Lord Skitter potentially. Beseech the Mirror potentially. And also potentially dropping 1 Bartolomé as well. And then what cards do we want to go up? All of this, again, potentially, right? More removal like Go for the Throat. And 1 more Vraan. Again, it just did so much today. So I just feel like 2 is going to be much better than 1 in here. All right, guys. Hey, enough rambling, huh? If you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. Make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link, as well as that Patreon link too, if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. Thank you again for the suggestion down in the comments. This one took me a while to put together, and I wanted to wait for the new set too, so I apologize that it literally took like a month or more to get around to this suggestion, but yeah, eventually we got around to it, and it was actually a ton of fun, and it was a little easier than I thought to pilot. I thought it was going to be much harder. In that first game, it was pretty hard though for me. So, okay, guys. Hey, I will see you in the next video.